Welcome to Mindset Transformations Radio Show with your host, Coach Myrna. Do you feel the need to do more with your life? Are limiting beliefs holding you back from true success? Enjoy a unique blend of interviews, discussions, and transformation coaching in every show. Get the tools for success. The Mindset Transformation Radio Show with your host, Coach Myrna.
Welcome to the Mindset Transformation Radio Show and Podcast. We are continuing our series today on the Fund, Fix, and Flip series, and this is our episode number 6. Now, today we are trying to be inclusive of everyone that is either renting or own their home right now. We want to give some information as far as where we are today in today's market. What are the pros and cons of buying versus renting? So we are expanding to not just our investors, but you, the millennials, are that you are, maybe just came out of college and you are, just starting a job, and you're listening to everyone that's saying, well, maybe, our ancestors thought that buying a home, that was the way to do it, but we're thinking that we don't want that responsibility. So we are going to hear from our expert, my co-host, Mr. Trevor Evans, on what his take is on that subject. So, Trevor, welcome to the show. I thank you for being willing to share your expertise and knowledge with my audience. Welcome.
Thank you.
Okay, all right. So I want to start off the conversation today by reading something that I saw on a blog, the Connected Investors blog, on why is it a good time to invest in purchasing a home. And basically it says this: today, 1 in 10 U.S. homes is a single-family rental property. And by 2030, it's going to be expected that there will be 13 million new renter households as millennials and baby boomers flock to renting versus buying. This should provide a significant tailwind for the single-family rental industry, both in terms of supporting increase in rents and the underlying asset value. So, why is now a good time to invest is the question. In this time of increased market volatility, it is particularly interesting to consider purchasing a home as an overall investment strategy. Home prices tend to adjust much more slowly than prices of stocks. And in the past, rents typically remain sticky even when home prices decline. During the recession, many markets saw home prices drop 50%, but rents declined only modestly. All in all, as the market was awash with new renters. So that is how we're going to start the conversation today. So we want to give you our take on both sides of the market. As a realtor, I can attest to the fact that, yes, that even when the property values dropped, 50%, the rents didn't. In fact, rents went up. Rents typically go up every year, or to remain the same, but they don't drop. So as an investor, then you can say that even if you can't sell the property, you can at least rent it. So that's one aspect of it. And then we have the millennials or anybody else that's want to say, I don't want that responsibility, and da-da-da-da. So that's what we're going to be discussing today. But before I tell you a little bit more about Trevor and get into our topic, let's have a word from our sponsor. Are you looking to invest in the South Florida market? The time is ripe for investors. Call My Helps Real Estate Investment Services, LLC, at 999-6125 for all your sales, rentals, or property management services. We are licensed in real estate and property management and will buy or lease your home. Don't delay. Call today, 954-999-6125. Just want to thank our sponsor. So let me tell you a bit more about my co-host. Now, if you have tuned into all our episodes, you know this information already, but, we expect to get new listeners every week. So this is a short biography on our co-host and, the brains behind this Fund, Fix, and Flip series. Trevor is a professional speaker, a real estate investor, a retail store owner, speaker and trainer for the Rich Dad Education, founder of the personal awakening brand Being Normal Sex. Trevor has also been married for 19 years and have 2 beautiful daughters, ages 22 and 18. So welcome again, Trevor, as we dissect the topic. What are the pros and cons of buying versus renting?
Thank you, Myrna.
You're welcome. All right, so as we dive right in, let me ask you our first question. Most young people begin their independent lives renting an apartment as they build their careers, save money, and start families. Many choose to buy a home. Is this a good or bad strategy?
It depends on the individual and their intention. Why they're doing it. If they're doing it because everyone else is doing it, it may not be a wise choice. But if they're doing it to try to attempt to create a legacy for themselves or start to build equitable value, then it's probably the first place that people start is their home, because with the home increase in value. So it all depends on the person's individual reason or why they want to buy a home. If it's for to create that legacy and start that process, then yes. But it may not be a good idea if you're buying one just because you want to call yourself a homeowner. Because there are things that come along with that you don't have to worry about when you are renting. When you're buying a home, if you lose your job or your income goes down or gets cut, that mortgage is not going to get cut, and you're now liable to pay it, and you're now going to be at risk of losing it if you cannot pay your payment. Whereas if you rent, you can simply downsize to a cheaper rent. So it all depends on your reason.
Yeah, that's a good one. Because if you lose your right, that's true. You've got. I was looking at the risk from when I was researching this topic and thinking of talking about it. I was looking mainly. The reason that people don't buy sometimes is because they don't want to have the risk of spending money and then depreciate an asset. But I didn't think of the fact that the risk is on both ends, whether the market drops or if you lose your job and you lose all your money that you've put into this house because it goes into foreclosure.
Correct.
So you're saying that if they want to create a legacy and build equitable value, which most people should if they're getting married, that means they have a family and they want to leave something for them or they want to have value, then what you're saying is a good strategy for somebody that's married and building careers and all that to purchase a home.
Right, and then they want to learn a strategy that supplements their income in case their income gets cut, so they can continue to pay for that home.
Okay.
And most people, they have their job, and they want to believe that their job is stable and their job is safe, and it's not, and so they buy this home, and the job now becomes their primary source of income. If it gets cut, then they're going to possibly lose their home. So if you want to do that, it would be a wise idea to learn some other skills that create that supplement your income. So in case that does happen, your investment, which is your home, which in your eyes is your home, isn't at risk of being taken by the bank or you losing all the funds you did put into it.
Wow, that is good. And, that is something that I've always done. In fact, I wrote a book about it, minding your own business, which is, while you have your day job, so that you find some business that you can do. And I guess that's probably what you teach as far as us real estate investors, because that's another thing you can do, right? Invest in real estate or have some kind of, rental income coming in or something like that. That's good. A good start to our topic. Awesome. Would that be like one of the best strategies you think? Because I know you that's probably your teaching point.
When people hear the word investing in real estate, their mindset automatically goes to, okay, now I got to get another loan to go buy another house that I got to rent out, blah blah. Not necessarily. Okay, there are three income types. There's earned income, passive, and portfolio. And most people just know about, the passive side of investing, and the passive side. And if they do know about the earned side, then it's probably a rehab or a fund fix and flip type scenario. But there are many other scenarios that create earned income in real estate that can help supplement your income. And earned income means you do a skill once and you get paid once. In order to get paid again, you got to go out there and do the skill to earn the income. So it may be a wise idea to learn a earned income skill through real estate that creates, a one-time lump sum of $15,000, $10,000, so on and so forth, that can supplement your income that you have at your job. And that money now can be used towards creating passive income than going to a bank and getting a loan.
Nice. Yeah, and the passive income, are you putting rental income under that?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Good. And then, of course, portfolio is stocks and bonds, which is, most of the millionaires in this country is, that's where they get their funds.
Not necessarily.
Okay.
Portfolio income is not stocks and bonds. Portfolio income, so I'll go to all three again. Earned, passive, and portfolio. Mm-hmm. Earned income means you do a skill once and it pays you once.
Okay.
Passive income means you do a skill once and it pays you over and over and over. Rental, lease option, wrap mortgage, so on. Portfolio income is not stocks and bonds. It's portfolio income means your money making money.
Ah. Okay.
So you take your money now and you do portfolio strategies where you're basically buying money. So you may now, if you have a substantial amount of cash, $500,000 or $200,000, whatever, you can take that $200,000 and become a business factor, where you buy account receivables, or you buy service contracts, or you buy insurance payouts, or you buy lottery earnings. You can do discount notes, or you also buy notes. You buy money. You can do taxes and tax deeds, right? So that creates income. So portfolio means your money making money.
Okay. Wow. Awesome. All right. So I got more than I bargained for with that question. So thank you for introducing the three types of income. And that is actually pretty good information because, a lot of people don't realize that. I've always had a business on the side. And one of the reasons that I always have a business on the side, because if you have a business on the side, you get to write off things, and it's better. So, but, on the other hand, having a business on the side also allows you to have a backup plan. And we should all have backup plans Good idea. Awesome. All right, so let's take our first station break, and we'll be right back to get into some more of the advantages of buying a home and also the advantages of renting. And, of course, this episode would reach you wherever you're at. So stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Have you had interest in the foreign exchange markets but were not educated enough? If so, then let me introduce you to iMarkets Live. iMarkets Live is a financial educational platform that helps people learn and earn. It teaches people how to trade in the foreign exchange market while providing them with the tools to trade via their cell phone. It has financial products to fit everyone's schedule and lifestyle, from stay-at-home parents to busy business professionals. For more information or to get started, contact Lamar Adams at 678-551-2472 or email at adamsdynasty2017@gmail.com.
Welcome back to the Mindset Transformation Radio Show and Podcast. I'm your host, Coach Myrna Young, and today we are continuing our topic on the Fund, Fix, and Flip series, specifically talking about what are the pros and cons of buying versus renting your home, whether it is your primary residence or purchasing a property for investment purposes. In the beginning of our first segment, we talked about some millennials that are now renting versus buying, and Trevor took us through one of the reasons that when you trying to make a decision on whether to rent or buy, you look at your overall strategy. And he gave us some really good information on 3 types of income, earned, passive, and portfolio. And that is one way to protect the risk of losing your home because you have a backup plan. So as we get into our second segment, we'll start off by asking Trevor, what are 5 advantages to buying a home? Like I said, whether you want to invest in it or you're going to live in it.
Well, I'll use the advantages that people tell me.
Okay.
So because if you want my true answer, there isn't one. But I'll tell you what people tell me.
Okay.
One is obviously the pride of ownership. Okay. 2, you can do what you want to do with the house and not be told or have to go ask someone. 3, tax advantages, obviously. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
4, you have a set payment. Each your payment won't increase every year or whatnot.
Right.
If you don't, unless you have just a rate mortgage. All right.
Right.
And then the 5th one is the start of that legacy creation, because a lot of people use their homes for the equity that it creates. So you're able to build equity in your property.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So right. So the first one you said, was that pride of ownership or product ownership?
Pride.
Okay, I thought that's what you said. Yeah, of course, it's nice too. And you get some bonus points or brownie points when you fill out an application and they ask you if you own or rent.
Right.
Because they ask that question to see. I'm not sure what they're looking for, but they obviously give you some points when you say you own your home, right? And yeah, freedom. I expand on that. When you're renting, there's for instance, my daughter is just moving into a new townhouse, and she is putting up wallpaper, and I says, well, you have to take that down when you move. So
right, yeah.
when you're in a rental property, we just came out of a rental property, and when we left there, we had to cover up all the nail holes and all that, and I came back into my own home, and I'm thinking, wow, this is so much better, the freedom. I can bore as many nail holes I want, paint it what I want. I don't have to worry about ruining their carpet or whatever, you know what I mean? There is definitely the freedom. And, and also the tax advantages. Very true. We moved out of our home and we were renting a property, and realized that you can't. I'm getting rental income on my house that I have to pay taxes on, and I can't write off anything on the rental property. So of course I moved back because that was the main reason. It's ridiculous.
Right.
So yeah, when you have your own home, you not only you can write off repairs, you can write off, you know, if your own business in the house, you can write off. Well, you can do that anyway if in the rental property. But there's so many things you can write off, including your HOA dues and your taxes and all that other stuff. And you're right, set payments. A mortgage is traditionally much cheaper than rent, you know?
Yeah.
Much cheaper than rent. And, unless you have one of those adjustable rate mortgages, which is like almost illegal now, then it'll be cheaper for you. And definitely the biggest one, you know, why owning a property, to me at least, because I'm from that old school, that, you know, and I keep talking about it. I wrote this on Quora, and it had a lot of, I had like 15,000 views on it because everybody was arguing with me. You know, my first home in Toronto, Canada, I paid $185,000 for it. That house now is worth over $1 million. And
Toronto is booming right now.
What was that?
Toronto is booming right now. Booming.
Yeah, it's booming. It's incredibly booming. Yeah, I mean, it's over $1 million right now. So that, and I kick myself. You know, when I sold it, I got like $240,000 for it, and I sold it when I moved here to Florida, right? And yeah, so that's basically what you want. You feel that if you hold on to your house for 10, 20, 30 years, it should double in value. Sometimes it triples in value, depending on where you live. You know what I mean? That's what it's all about. What?
Real estate comparatively, you know, over time always appreciates. Now, are there dips in the economy? Yes. But for the whole, real estate always goes up.
Yes. And, you know, that's the school that I'm from. It always goes up, you know, and the trick is to know when to get into the market. Like, for instance, the people in Toronto now, they're buying $1 million homes. I mean, Toronto is, you know, a little better than the U.S. as far as dipping, you know, because they manage their economy so much better than we do. But I wouldn't buy a house, you know, in those rates, because I'm expecting it to bust. You know what I mean?
And it will.
Yeah, well, maybe. You know, they're not traditionally, but yeah, you're right. It will be a dip.
No, yeah, what's happening there? What's happening there is what occurred here. You know, from 04 to 07. So, and again,
that's true.
How quickly we forget, right?
Yeah. That is true. That's exactly what was going on over here.
It cannot continue to rise. I mean, it'll drop down to a little bit more than what you sold for, you know, and it'll rise, go up again, you know, and that's what real estate does. You know, every 7 or 10 years is that cycle.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So, I know that, you know, being in the market, and you just got to understand when to get into it. Right. Awesome. All right. So those are your advantages for, let me ask you, I mean, I don't want to leave that on the table. You said you don't think there's any advantages of owning a home. So where is that coming from?
Well, that comes from my paradigm, you know.
Okay.
Because you know, as you know, paradigm is just how we process information. There's no advantages for you to own a home as far as an individual, but your corporation can own the home and receive the same benefits that you do as the individual, but none of the risk. And then you can also claim the benefits as a renter of that home. So if you live in a home that your corporation owns, you can now rent that home for your corporation, and now the rent that you pay now becomes an expense to you, and that corporation can depreciate that and even if the loan is in your name, you can still depreciate the loan, the interest, because the loan, yes, is tied to you, but the home is owned by a corporation, and as you know, that corporation has to have a meeting every month. Well, why not have it at your home? And so every month that corporation has a meeting, you can now charge that corporation what you pay in rent, which in turn is what you may pay in a mortgage every month. So if your mortgage payment is $2,000, that is being paid from the corporation to the bank. So in turn, you're paying a rent of $2,000 to the corporation. Well, that corporation also has to have a meeting every month, and they'll use your house because they own it as the meeting space. And then you live there, and so you will charge them rent of $2,000, okay? And so now the $2,000 that they pay to the mortgage company, that you now pay as a rent, you can now expense that $2,000, all right, as a renter. The corporation that rents your home, they pay you the $2,000. They can now expense that $2,000 as an expense, and then you now, as an individual, you can now pocket that $2,000 that they pay you as non-reportable taxable income.
Yeah, I know. You taught us that, and I've actually started doing the meeting thing, but of course I haven't. I mean, there's so much information that you're right. I have to process it a little bit at a time. But that was beautiful. Yeah, you already talked to us about that. How you get around the square foot as far as your business office. By charging, exactly, by just charging the rent and all that. And I was trying to incorporate that with my LLC, but so what you're saying now, the corporation now has to, when you're married. So that was, okay, I'm glad I didn't leave that on the table, and I got you to explain that because, yeah, again, setting up yourself with, if you listen to our last episode, we talked about asset protection and how you structure your business. And it's
IRC Internal Revenue Code Section 280 Alpha subsection G, and what it says is your corporation has a meeting every month, okay, once a month, and they also have an annual meeting once a year. So your corporation pays your rent for your home for business meetings one time a month for 12 months, and then one time a year for the annual meeting.
Annual meeting, right?
Which would be 13 meetings, and then the corporation can deduct the rent it pays you per month for the meeting, and then you don't report the rent as income because you rented your home for fewer than 14 days a year.
Yeah, I remember that. Wow. Okay. Great. Beautiful. Yes, I have that in my quiver somewhere. I just have to implement it. So you're just reminding me that I have to get all these things done.
It's a lot.
Yeah, that's good information.
It's a lot.
Yeah, I know. There's a lot. Like I say, you got to implement one at a time or get to one at a time. But I have that in my arsenal to implement. So that was great. So all right. So that's basically why Trevor doesn't see any advantages to owning your home in your name, and he is in the super mode as how do you operate as a business, as an investor. He is in that investor mode where he knows to maximize all his deductions, and that's one of the beautiful ways of doing it. So that is a bit advanced for someone that's just starting out, but you can have that in your belt as something that you can do later on. So, all right. So now, what are the advantages of renting?
The advantage of renting, again, is if your income gets depleted or it gets cut, you can downsize, to the a cheaper rent. It gives you the flexibility of obviously moving and exploring different parts of the country or world or whatever. It also gives you the advantage of no repairs, so if something breaks in that home you rent, you call the landlord or call the property manager, and that item or thing, it gets fixed. So there's freedom in the sense of you can come and go when you want as far as where you want to live at. There's no responsibility with repairs or taxes that you got to pay. All you got to do is just pay your rent. And if you want to move, you don't have to worry about I got to sell first and then or rent it out first or whatever. Just get up and move and rent somewhere else. So I would say the advantage of renting is flexibility and freedom.
Okay. Well, that's good. I have one more that I had written down here, and it's the fact that you don't have to have a high credit score. You don't have to have good credit.
Yeah.
It's not as good as buying, right?
The laws are changing now because I know in California it's very, very prevalent, and I'm seeing it here in Florida in some cases now where rental communities or rental properties and communities are asking for credit and income to make sure that you can pay your rent. And as a matter of fact, in California, it's part of the process where you must tell them you have to qualify to rent the house or rent there.
It's true.
Per your income.
It's absolutely true. Yep. The property that we just, like I said, we were renting in Palm Beach and we moved back into a home. But in order to get into that community, you have to make 3 times the rent.
Right.
And you also have to have a 650 credit score, which is like you can get a mortgage for $580 now.
Right.
So you're very right. So we scratched that out. But traditionally, and that's the homeowners association, traditionally, if you were going to rent an apartment complex or something, don't even check any of that, because they still need to, as the neighborhoods that have the homeowners association, it's now become a problem here. But, yeah, I get you. All right. So, of course, the big ones, the reason that people want to rent is that, the flexibility to move wherever they want, flexibility to, definitely no repairs. I remember when I was renting and the AC broke, I didn't have to worry about, oh my gosh, that's a $2,500 bill. You know what I mean? I just call up the landlord. And it's beautiful. When you have the homeowner mentality and anything breaks, you're thinking, oh my gosh, you got to find the money. But it's a beautiful thing not to have to worry about but then how often does those things break? Once every 10 years, but yes, good. All right, so we covered the advantages of renting and the advantages of buying. So, do we want to touch on the disadvantages of purchasing a home?
The disadvantages now with purchasing a home is again the only one that's prevalent is if your income is affected. You have the possibility of losing your home and losing all the equity that you put into that home. You have to pay taxes now, real estate taxes. Okay, the upkeep now is on you. So if something breaks or a major damage in the home, that's on you. But you should have insurance that can probably take care of that. And then you have that payment now you got to pay. So you got to take out an insurance policy. You're now forced to pay taxes and insurance and all that. And in some cases, depending on where you want to live, they require you to actually own the home, and then that comes with income requirements and credit score requirements. So there are disadvantages to owning a home, but most people with a certain paradigm, they don't see the disadvantages as too harsh not to do it. And I understand their processing, but if you're looking at it in that perspective, then yes, it makes sense to you. I'm not saying you shouldn't own a home. What I'm saying now is that you are now liable to lose it if you can't either pay for it or if you get sued. Now in Florida, luckily we have what's called the homestead exemption, so you can't lose your home through a lawsuit here in Florida because of your homestead. And in other states that don't have homestead, as long as you have a lien on the property, then your property is protected in that sense, because that first mortgage holder, that first mortgage position will deter anyone from suing you for that, because now that has to be satisfied before any equity payout is given to you or given to them.
Mm-hmm. Right. Okay. Yeah. So, those are the disadvantages. So, what would you say that the people that decided that they're not going to buy, they're just going to rent because they feel that buying a home now haven't got any advantages?
I say more power to them, because again, if you're comfortable with renting, then that means that you not only do not see the advantage of home ownership, you probably wouldn't own the home right anyway, or take advantage of all the things that the home can give you as a homeowner. You may even overspend, or and buy wrong. So if a person is if their mindset is I want to continue renting, obviously their reason outweighs their reason for buying. So I don't see where anyone has to be called an idiot because they want to. I rented for a very, very long time. I didn't own my home until I got into investing, and that wasn't until 3 or 4 years after. So I just recently became a homeowner. Now I control lots of corporations that own homes. So again, I'm not against the home ownership. I'm more so have a corporation or LLC control the home or own the home, whereas you as an individual you control the corporation or control the home. So that's I don't see any problem with someone saying I want to rent. So that they see that, then they probably don't have the financial IQ to fully benefit from home ownership.
Right. Okay. Because I think we talked about the in one of our prior episodes of having a homeowner's mentality versus a renter's mentality. Right. So if you have a homeowner mentality, then you definitely enjoy it. Like even when your house is upside down, right, which will happen to a lot of homes there, especially in Lee County, which we both reside. Your houses were upside down for quite a while, but people still enjoyed being a homeowner, and they're just going to ride it out until it comes back up.
And people that sold their home, or people that sold their home or moved out of their home because their home was upside down, then those people didn't have a reason to buy a home in the first place, because you buy a home for a reason. And I don't believe that those reasons go away just because you have negative equity.
Right. Yeah. So that's definitely me, because I purchased my home legacy. I want my children and my grandchildren to be able to enjoy it, when I'm no longer here. So I love that right away about you. But a lot of people abandoned their home and got out of it because it had negative equity. And what 5-6 years back, and it's back up. They're they don't have it negative equity. So you're right. You don't have the homeowner's mentality. You have the renter's mentality. Good job. Yeah, that is very, very true. It's all about your mentality, right? Okay, so let's take our second station break, and we'll be right back to wrap up. I think I've asked you most of the questions on this topic. So just stay tuned. We'll be right back for any final words from Trevor on this topic. Stay tuned.
Have you had interest in the foreign exchange markets but were not educated enough? If so, then let me introduce you to iMarkets Live. iMarkets Live is a financial educational platform that helps people learn and earn. It teaches people how to trade in the foreign exchange market while providing them with the tools to trade via their cell phone. It has financial products to fit everyone's schedule and lifestyle, from stay-at-home parents to busy business professionals. For more information or to get started, contact Lamar Adams at 678-551-2472 or email at adamsdynasty2017@gmail.com.
Welcome back to the Mindset Transformation Radio Show and Podcast. I'm your host, Coach Myrna Young, and my co-host today is Trevor Evans, and we are just wrapping up our conversation today on what are the pros and cons of buying your home versus renting your home. So I think we've had a good discussion today on the benefits of home ownership as well as the benefits of renting. So, as we, our last point before we went to break is all depends on your mindset. And this is basically what our show is, mindset transformation. So if you have a renter's mindset, then, that might either work for you or it might not work for you. It just depends on what you want to do. Do you want to leave a legacy? Do you want to take the equity from your home, if you held it for 30 years, into your retirement, so you have some money in the bank? It just depends. Trevor told you about his paradigm, and his paradigm was don't own the home personally. Have your corporation own your home because there's much more tax advantages to it. My paradigm has always been to, own your home so that, when you get older, if you hang on to it for about 30 years or so, because being a realtor, I've seen it happen. You buy a house for $50,000, by the time you retire, it's worth $500,000. And you're living rent-free. You can leave it as a legacy. You can sell it if you want and, go into a condo, which a lot of people do, a lot of, senior people do. But when you're renting, you're basically paying someone else's mortgage. That's been my paradigm. And as investors, we don't mind renters because that's what we do. We buy property and rent it out. And not only is our renters paying the mortgage, but we're also keeping some for ourselves, right, Trevor?
Yes, ma'am.
So,
cash
the world,
cash flow.
Cash flow, exactly. The world is can accommodate both people. So we hope that this discussion today, let you identify which one of those types you are. We gave you, both advantages and disadvantages of renting or owning, and you just have to figure out, which side of the fence you're on. And you got to know who you are, right? As a coach, that's what we teach and that's what we preach. You got to know who you are and be true to your own self. So I have a last question here for Trevor, and that is, should military families rent or buy? What do you think?
It's that's a sticky one too, because again, it doesn't matter really your occupation. It's a matter of, do you want to own or rent? One of the advantages of owning, if you are a military personnel, is that if you buy a home at your duty station and you get PCS to a different place, you have the ability to buy another home there, but you can then allow someone to take over the mortgage and payment of your first home, so you get rid of that liability. That's called mortgage assumption, and that's typically given through BA loans and FHA loans. However, if you are going to do that, the person that's going to take over your payment and your loan still has to qualify for that loan and that payment, and they just take over your payment. So it's not like you can just say, here, I'm a turn it over to you. No, they still have to go through a qualification process for that payment. So that's the advantage of being a homeowner in the military world, is that you can allow for anyone to take over that payment because of the loan type that you may have as that personnel. And again, that's probably the biggest advantage there as military, is you get to you can allow someone to take it over, but it still comes with all the other disadvantages of home ownership. Even though you are military, you can still do that too. So if you're planning on making it a career, then perhaps you may want to do that. If you're just planning on coming in for a short time and just doing your 3 years or 4 years, then you may want to weigh your options, because your income and your social status in life is going to change once you get out of the military. There's not going to be that guaranteed income, and now the military offsets a lot of payments for you, or it gives you tremendous discounts as active duty that you now have to pick up as a civilian, which could affect your payment of your mortgage once you get out.
Okay, I got you. But when on the flip side of that, don't they get really good rates as a VA loan, and they get down payment assistance and all those type of things?
Yes, because the VA loan, the lowest rate that's out there that I saw is about 1.25%
nice.
for a VA loan.
Nice.
And the closing cost is pretty much all you pay as a veteran. And so the upfront costs are very, 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 very cheap, and the rates are very, very low as well. And so there's a company called USAA, Navy Fed, but USAA is kind of like a one-stop shop for the military, because they can get their home through USAA and also get their homeowner's insurance through USAA, their auto insurance through USAA, and they can bundle everything, and it's a substantial payment for that. I still have USAA as my insurer now, and I have people that were prior military that got out, and they lost USAA as a benefit, and I've been told numerous times that's probably the biggest mistake that they made, because insurance on the civilian side is expensive, but USAA makes it very, very cheap for military personnel and their families. So if you're out there in your military, if there's one benefit you don't lose USAA as your insurer, because you'll end up paying for it.
Okay. Well, that's good. I don't know why I asked that question, but then as soon as you start answering it, I remember that you were 10 years in the military.
Yeah. Yep.
I love it. That means that I'm in sync with the higher power.
Right. Yeah, so military personnel, they also get what's called a VA loan or an allotment, and the allotment is given per the number of years they served in the military. And as long as you can qualify for the payment, you're pretty much going to get the loan from VA. So if you got out and you can afford, if your income is suffice and you can afford a home of $500,000 or $800,000, you can use your VA loan for that, and you'll get that same benefit, the 100% financing, the low down payment, the low rate, and as long as you satisfy your loan, you can use it again.
Mm-hmm.
And
go ahead.
Transfer to your children.
Sorry, your children too?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, nice. Great. Yeah. Well, one of my clients used, because when you go into military, they pay for your college, and he got a lump sum for his student loans and bought a house with it. So there's benefits.
There's benefits.
Yeah, benefits. Yeah, so it's basically it. And basically what he was doing is the money that he was, because it was an investment house, so the money that he was going to make from the rental of the property was going to pay his student loan as well as, give him some profit. So
right.
That's another way. You just have to have a proper mindset. Huh?
If you have the homeowner mentality, then the military and VA is a great start for that, because there's so many discounts and advantages and benefits they give you that civilians don't receive. So if you have that homeowner's mentality, take advantage of it. Thus, that's why I didn't use my VA loan until I've been out now for over 20, not 20 years, but a long time, and I just used my VA loan, one of my homes, and the reason why I didn't use it is because I didn't have that homeowner's
mentality. Well, thank you for being honest. All right, that's awesome. Okay, well, we wrapped up strong, because that was, I'm glad I asked that question, because, there's a lot of people that have been in the military and, don't take advantage of that. In fact, as a realtor, I come across lots of people that say, hey, you know what, I can get a VA loan, but I don't. So anybody listening would know that that's kind of crazy. It's like having a benefit and not using it, So, yep. And again, it's your mindset. I don't know why someone would say that, but obviously they're, misinformed in a lot of things. So, awesome. All right. So, again, great conversation, Trevor. Love your expertise. Love your knowledge on all these subjects and topics. I so appreciate you willing to take the time to not only educate me, but also our audience and our listeners. So thank you so much. Tell our audience how they can get in touch with you if they need to connect with you, after this call. So either ask you questions or, being part of, buying, supporting you and your brand, being Normal Socks. So how can they reach you?
Yes, so the website is beingnormalsocks.com, and the email is Trevor@beingnormalsocks.com. I've been getting a lot of responses because of our podcast, and those my website wasn't set up for this much influx of information, so it's under construction now to handle that, which will take about a couple of weeks. But that's a good problem to have.
Yes, it is.
So yeah, any question you have, just go on the website or email me at Trevor@beingnormalsocks.com and post your questions, and I'll answer them to the best of my abilities.
Awesome. Well, I hope you take him up on his offer. Don't flood his phones now or his emails. But yeah, very knowledgeable person. Thank you so much. All right. So you've just heard us talk about renting versus buying. This is our 6th episode on the Fund, Fix, and Flip series. We do this podcast every couple of weeks, and, in the other 2 weeks, then I concentrate on, coaching topics as it relates to personal development. So please subscribe to my podcast. You can search for it under the iTunes banner of Transform Your Mind with Coach Myrna. If you don't have iTunes, you can access the podcast from my blog, which is blog.myhelps.us. And if you have an Android phone, that's the word I was looking for in our last segment. If you have an Android phone, then of course you can subscribe through my my blog. If you would like to be a guest on the show or have any questions for me as far as real estate or investing, then please email me at info@myhelps.us, which is info@myhelps.us. Thank you for tuning in to the Mindset Transformation Radio Show and podcast. Look forward to seeing you, if you're listening on the radio, next Wednesday at 5 o'clock on the afternoon drive. or for you to be listening via podcast. I appreciate you. So until next time, once again, thank you, Trevor, and I would like to say namaste.